Welcome to Lit Up 365 Winter Session 3. We've had this great opportunity throughout the winter so far to dig into a deeper understanding of ourselves and to connect with the innermost parts of our being as we move to that space in between, that space after the leaves have fallen, before the new seeds have grown. And it's been wonderful. And whether you've been a part of Lit Up 365 or you've been doing it on your own, we've all experienced some level of deepening because that's what nature is demanding of us right now. So we're moving now we're beginning our move into the middle of winter. And so what I like to talk about during this time is polarity. So you know, the December 21st class is going to be removed. We only have 1 month up at a time because we do offer Lit Up in monthly increments. So December 21st is disappearing, and now we're moving into January 20th and moving into that concept of polarity and oneness. So the name of this particular class is the law of oneness, the gift of polarity, which is an interesting concept in and of itself. So I'm going to dig into that a little bit. And I want to start with the process we've already begun. We've already been in this place of stillness, in this place of emptiness. And for some of us, emptiness can be one of the most difficult things to experience because it feels like aloneness. But the truth is, as we come to understand polarity, we can understand that allowing emptiness can actually make us more full. The more we fill our lives with our own existence, the more we feel connected to the world around us, the deeper our connection. We want our fullness to be inherent. We don't want to be in the habit of filling ourselves with external value or external stimulus or anything that we would externally depend upon. We want to at least have a foundation in our own being, and then we can enjoy the rest of the world and all of that wonderful external experience in a centered, grounded way, not vulnerable, without fear of loss, because we are full. So the first thing I want to talk about is the concept that emptiness sometimes brings to people, and that is the concept of lack. When we begin to talk about polarity, one of the things I like to address as lack is because it becomes very important for us to understand that being empty is not being in lack. It's more being in longing. And longing has been an interesting term for me to learn. When I first started studying the Sufi tradition, it caught me because it created a polarity in my mind, which was the fact that it said that there were these two principles of love, that there was this masculine principle of love and there was this feminine principle of love. And for me, the active principle was the male principle. They said the male form of love is the active. It's loving people. It's the action of love. But that the feminine was the longing side. And initially that upset me, which made it a great polarity. It was something that I thought I disagreed with initially. But I thought longing meant the craving of something external, the craving of fulfillment from outside of ourselves, because I had always equated longing to reaching for something. There are two aspects of longing that are really important. The first is when we think we want to reach for something, when we desire something. So if we want a certain job or a certain relationship or to live a certain lifestyle, it's not that thing we really want. It's not that we care about having the certain job or lifestyle relationship. What we care about is who we think we can be if we have that. So it's not necessarily that we are in this place where we're saying, I must have this external relationship. It's more, if I had this external relationship, this is who I think I could be. And so there's that aspect, and that connects us to what longing really is. So longing is the feminine aspect, because longing is a desire to birth something of ourselves, to express something of ourselves. So when we're in that state of longing, it means this thing out there is stimulating this desire inside of me to bring something into existence, to bring it into fruition. And so as we look at longing, what it really is this desire to expand, to become more. And so a lot of times, one of the things we can do is when we crave something, it generally means we crave it because we think we lack it. But if we can connect to longing instead of lack, it means, oh, I crave it because I want to create it. I want to bring it into existence. And so anywhere where we're experiencing polarity. So if we look at polarity, often people think of polarity as our opposite, as the thing that opposes us. But what I'd like to do is have you begin to connect to polarity by its definition, which is polarity is the thing that possesses everything we do not, and therefore makes us whole. I'm going to say that again. Polarity is the thing that possesses everything we do not, and therefore makes us whole. So much of our polarity is uncomfortable and we disagree with because it's everything we aren't. So it's something we view as the opposite of us. But one of the things we can begin to ask ourselves as we go into this time of year is, if there is something that is creating discomfort in my life, if there is an opposing force, first of all, let me understand that it is everything I'm not. And then secondly, let me understand that there is some longing at the base of my discomfort. I am aware of this thing I don't like because it makes me desire, it creates in me the desire to birth something of it, to make something so. And so the better question for us to start asking ourselves is, what is the longing at the base of my discomfort? And to focus on that. And so what we're going to talk about in this is that concept. And I'm going to use the yin yang symbol because it is so beautifully representative of polarity. So there are a few things about the yin yang symbol that I want to connect to the concept of what we're going to talk about tonight and the exercises that we're going to be doing. So the first thing is the understanding that yin yang is in motion. This is something that is a spinning thing. So it's constantly moving. So many times we tend to get locked into ideas of black and white thinking and think they're immovable. But even things that we've believed for decades, our religious faiths, our political connections, our decisions on relationships, even though they're things that we're committed to for years, decades, lifetimes, sometimes they're still in constant motion. There is a constant shifting happening within them. So one of the things to understand about polarity is that constant cycle of motion that it's experiencing, and it's almost like one is chasing the other, but they're a perfect circle, so one is not in front of the other. They feed off of each other. And one of the base teachings of the yin yang symbol is that if we go too far to any extreme, we create the seed for its opposite. And the reason we do that is when we go to an extreme, we immediately become aware of the opposite of that extreme. And so it plants that seed in us. So when we can start to realize that our polarities exist, not to be an opposing force, but because they bring us balance, because they are an opportunity for expansion for us, then we can release the experience of being triggered by those things or feeling anxiety or discomfort. The reason why I've tied polarity to oneness is that concept of the yin yang, that concept of polarity. And that is the part that it is the thing that possesses everything we do not, and therefore it makes us whole. We are not whole without it. The yin yang symbol cannot exist one color without the other. Otherwise, it's not a circle anymore. Oneness is not the concept that we're all meant to agree. We're not all meant to come together and be the same. I have so many people look at what I teach about brain function, and what they want to connect to is the fact that, oh, when we all get into that brain function, we can all finally just be in agreement. And that's not true. It is our individuality that makes life beautiful and interesting, and it sometimes can feel like the thing that creates conflict. But the truth is, once we grow to that state, we'll want to expand to another, because human nature is expansive. Our desire is to expand, and that does not mean becoming like other things. It doesn't mean, oh, I've got to match this or make this match me. There was a great meditation I had once, and it was just a perfect, clear sentence that came through my mind as I meditate, and it was, the grass does not try to be the tree. When we can stop trying to design the world to comply to our existence, or adjusting ourselves to comply to the world's existence, then we can finally be the version of who we're meant to be. That grass is being the most perfect blade of grass it can be. And we're doing the same. So when we can look at polarity as the next step of our expansion, as the place, because if our life is about expansion, that means it's about moving from who we've been, from what we know, into the space of being someone we've never been before, something we don't know. And it doesn't mean we need to abandon ourselves or change entirely. What it means is, I'm willing to create new opportunities, new experiences for myself. That thing I crave, that external thing, maybe the relationship or the job, that's a desire to expand into a new experience of ourselves. So that polarity, because it's everything we're not, gives us the best opportunity for expansion. Now, this doesn't mean we need to interact with it. So if the polarity is someone you completely disagree with, or there's going to be conflict, it's not about the fact that you then need to become their best friend, or that situation, you need to put yourself in it. It's just about being able to look at it and say, what seed does this create for me? What possibility? What part am I not seeing? So that point of tension, that's another part of the yin yang symbol, is the understanding that between the black and the white is that point of tension. To look at that point of tension as the place that's forever creating our balance. It's the center of the symbol. It is our return to wholeness. It's the place where the other half of who we are exists. So we can start abandoning these ideas of above and below, or better or worse, or right or wrong, or teacher or student, and start to think of nature the way nature behaves, which is growing from the inside out. Nature always grows from the bottom up, inside out. So beginning to look at the expression of longing as this birth outward, and saying, when I see my polarity, when I see this point of tension, this person, this situation I disagree with, what is it? What creation is it stirring in me? So if I disagree with a certain political party, why? Well, what does it stir in me? It's not about eliminating the other political party. It's about deciding the fact that it stimulated something in us. And sometimes it's a desire to change, to make the world a better place, to do all these wonderful things we organically want to do. But the important thing is realizing that polarity is not our shadow side. It's the thing we're not seeing, the thing that expands us, that opens our mind to new possibility. The more points of view we can comfortably sit in, the healthier our brain function. So remembering that desire to grow from the inside out, and allowing that polarity to serve our expansion to the point where we can realize ourselves as the full symbol, that full yin yang symbol, where there is no separation, where I am my polarity, because I can see in myself the beauty of what that polarity births, what it creates in me, what it inspires me to, what it stirs in me. I'm not asking for it to stir what it is. It's going to stir in me what it isn't. But it is a call to action, not a point of correction. It's not anything we need to fix, but it's something we need to utilize for our own growth. So I'm going to set up some exercises. Our first exercise this week is going to be on a deeper understanding of polarity and that point of it versus me. And so it'll be a question answer. And then next week, we will go deeper into oneness. And we're going to start digging in as we move into February, into that, beginning to feel that seed moving, beginning to feel that desire from the earth for things to grow up through the earth and into fruition. So as we move into February, we're going to be a lot in the creation of who we are, those inner stirrings. We're not going to be in action yet because we are not in the season for action. We're still in winter. But we do want to connect to that deep part in ourselves so that as spring comes, we can start to bring it out. So again, your lessons are there. And if you have any questions, please send them, write them on the Facebook group. I will be creating a forum for this group. Put them in comments of the videos. Get involved in asking how to expand this practice. Other people might have the same questions or also might want to share. So again, we're just going to go right into the next exercise. And I truly hope you enjoy this next stage of our journey together.